Hello, I'm Marie, and I'd like to welcome you to Women of a Certain Age. Thanks for joining me. In my last video, I offered to share with you some of the things I did to create a structure back into my life. I'd run a hospitality business for 21 years, which meant that I was public facing. I had to employ a lot of people. I had to wear many hats. It was very busy, exhausting, very social. And I have to admit, for the majority of the time, I absolutely loved it and got a tremendous buzz out of it. But, you know, things change over the years, and I got older and felt it was time I did more with my life. Working in hospitality, as much as I loved it, meant that while I was being hospitable to other people, I was losing out, enjoying hospitality given by others, with my family, my friends, holidays. So it was time for a change. So, all to the good. After 21 years, I finally moved on, which wasn't actually not that long ago, 3 years ago. I had a lot to deal with, shutting down my business, disposing of things, moving. That was quite traumatic. So I had to declutter. More on that another time. Once that was all out of the way, I ended up having a couple of operations which weren't life-threatening or anything like that. It was, just to help me be more mobile, shall we say. And then, when things started to settle down, I suddenly realised I wasn't seeing anybody. I mean, not nobody at all. I was seeing my family and having lunch with a friend occasionally. But this massive buzz, where I was seeing people every single day because my business was a 7-day-a-week job, had disappeared. And all the people that used to come and see me, because that was what I did, I was a host, I just didn't see anymore. I'd bump into them occasionally when I was out and about. And when you've been in a local business for that length of time, then obviously you do get to meet an awful lot of lovely, lovely people, and you share all about their life events. When they've had their kids, when their kids get engaged, when they end up being grandparents. It's quite surprising what can happen in the best part of a generation, which is when I was there. So that was all very lovely. So I settled down and then just realised that there wasn't much going on. So I had to have a really big think about what to do. So one of the first things I did was join there's a local, what can I call it? Call it a gym, but it's a bit more than that, and I'm not really a gym bunny anyway. But it was it's a golf and country club is what it's titled. I don't play golf, but there's two sides to this place, and there's a gym and dance classes, all sorts of exercise classes. There's a pool, and there's also a very nice restaurant bar area that looks out over. It's got a lovely terrace and looks out over the golf course and everything. And it's a membership club. It wasn't wildly expensive. Once you get to a certain age, things reduce, which is quite pleasant. So I thought I'll give it a go because it would give me somewhere to go. So that was the one thing. I didn't just want to go and troll around the shops or sit in cafes or permanently go shopping. So I went a couple of times a week, and it served its purpose because it got me out and I didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt very comfortable there actually, because there were lots of other people of a like mind. They wanted to do a bit of exercise, but they also wanted a bit of social. And I did see some people I knew, but it wasn't quite enough. So the other thing I did as well was I joined a rock choir, and I'm still in the rock choir. I'm now in my second year and I absolutely love it. So I come from a family that have always loved music. Not in a professional way. My mum was in an amateur dramatic type musical group. She always loved singing, and she would have loved to have been an opera singer. My dad just loved music and military bands and all that sort of thing. So our house was always full of music. We were brought up with it, brought up to love it. I brought my kids up the same, and my grandchildren the same. And I just saw this advertisement and for a free taster session and thought, well, I'll go along to that. Sounds good fun. And I absolutely loved it. It's quite big. There's about 60 or 80 people go, all similar ages, and once a week, just in academic term times. And we're there for an hour and a half. And it is what it is. It's a rock choir. It's not gospel or church music or anything like that. It's all taking sort of fairly well-known popular songs, and they are then what's the word, if it's scored, or anyway, they're reworked so that we can sing them in harmonies in our choir. There's no audition, and there's no judgment. Everybody's there to have fun, and that is what I absolutely love about it. But there's so much passion that when I went for my taster session, I just thought, you know what, I would be so proud to be a part of this, because when we finish a song and everybody sings it and it works in harmony, it's the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. And I absolutely love it. And we occasionally, well, not more than occasionally, we do charity performances. We get the opportunity to go to some marvellous places. This year we're performing at the Edinburgh Fringe. And last year we did Hyde Park, Proms in the Park in London. And we also did a recording at Abbey Road Studios, which was amazing experience. So that's another thing that I've done. So come to the end of the membership of my gym, and I just thought, after a year, it served its purpose. It wasn't really for me, but it did break the mould. That's what I'm trying to get to. It made me do something else, and I felt comfortable, and it got me back out into society generally, rather than sitting and hoping and waiting that somebody was going to come and knock on my door or phone me up and say, hey, just remembered about you, do you want to meet up? Because it just doesn't work like that, really. So I made the effort, joined the country club, as I said, did a bit of exercise, joined the rock choir, which I'm still a member of. The other thing I did as well, because I felt that I really did need to do some exercise, and I just think that's important for all of us. I'm not talking about, running marathons or training hard in a gym or anything like that, but doing some form of exercise, whether it's walking or a dance class or whatever. So I did a 4-week session, a training session, if you like, for Nordic walking, which is where you have the poles, and you see people with these poles walking along, and they're not walking sticks. What they do with Nordic walking is they propel you, they help you get some momentum with your walking. And I've thought about it before and just never got around to joining, but it's sort of like, a bit serendipity. These things pop up, don't they, when they're supposed to. And I thought, yeah, I'll go along and try that, and enjoyed it too. And that is one of these groups, mostly ladies, I have to say. We do get some gentlemen, a bit like the choir, get some gentlemen that come along, but mostly ladies. And it's just a lovely way of getting out. They have walks in the most beautiful places. And the one I go to, it's in the grounds of a country house in Derbyshire, so it's just beautiful. And we're just out there walking for an hour with our guide, our leader. And there's loads and loads of different classes you can do. You can do really strenuous ones, and I tend to do sort of a fairly intermediate one, which gets my heart rate up, because again, one of the things that I found was that in the job that I'd done, I could go like a train all day, but going up a hill, I was just like a puffing billy, really out of breath. So I really wanted to improve my cardiovascular, and that's what happened. It did. And that's a sort of thing that you can dip in and out of. I try to go every week, but there are some weeks I just can't manage it for other commitments. And then another thing that I did as well was took up dancing. I'd done a bit in the past. I'm not talking ballroom or competition or anything like that, but obviously I love music, I love movement, and love dancing. And I joined a salsa class a few years ago, and if you do Cubana salsa, you can go on your own, you don't need a partner. Now I know it takes quite a bit of courage to walk into something like that. I do. I can remember walking in and thinking, you know, everybody's going to wonder why I'm here on my own. But once you're there, you realise that an awful lot of people do go on their own, and you dance in what's called a rueda, which is a circle. And sometimes there's not enough men and there's not always partners, but whoever the instructor is, they just move the men round, and you're always part of it. You're not sat on a chair like a wallflower. So that's really good too. That was good fun. And you do meet other people. Now, you might not be forming lifelong friendships here, but you are engaging, and you are making an effort to be seen. If you remember, you know, we've talked about being invisible before. You're making an effort to be seen. I make sure that I look nice when I go out. I look forward to going. It's good fun. And it's energising, and it puts a smile on my face, and it's something to look forward to. So there's a few things that I've done to put a structure into my life, to make it social, make it fun, give me some exercise and some engagement with other people, and give me a bit more of a raison d'etre rather than just waiting for something to happen. So I hope you find that inspirational, and that you will go and check out what's going on round by you. What can you join? What do you like doing? I mean, it might be a cooking class, it might be painting, it could be learning a language, it could be volunteering, you know, just getting yourself out there. There's lots of free stuff. Obviously it's pretty well everything I've spoken about has had a cost to it, but not very expensive. But you know, we're all on a bit of a budget, just different levels, but there's a lot of free stuff out there too. Certainly volunteering is one of them, so that's something else you could look at, whether it's with young children, whether it's in charity shops, whether it's helping people similar age or older than us that just need a lift. So I'll leave it with you, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.